This is the Sports Hounds Real Sports Bark Podcast, bringing you current events, news, NFL, NBA, MLB, soccer, UFC, boxing, and more. Make sure to hit us up on the website, thesportshound.com. And now, here's your host, Tigsta.
What is happening, everybody? Let's start this off like this. This is our 10th episode. That's right, 10th episode of the Sports Hound Real Sports Bark Podcast with yours truly, Tigsta. So we 10 in, y'all. Yeah. Thank you. Okay, let's get into the real nitty-gritty of this sports news week. As you know, we have the NCAA tournament jumping off, and we are down to the Final Four. That's right. After everything's been said and done, we're down to the Final Four, and it's an interesting one too. It's an interesting one. But let me run down to you guys exactly how everything is set up from the Elite Eight. You had Villanova taking down Texas Tech 71-59. So now Villanova, the 1 seed, moves on to the Final Four. Waiting to play them, you have from the Elite Eight, the final for the Kansas and Duke game. You had Kansas beating Duke 85-81, which pushes Kansas, a number 1 seed, to face Villanova. Yes, they will be playing each other for the right to play in the championship for the 2018 NCAA tournament. Yes, number 1 Villanova and number 1 Kansas will meet up. Other bracket, you have out of the Elite Eight, my surprise, my Cinderella team, the one that I'm rooting for and I'm pushing for them to go all the way, is Loyola Chicago. They took down Kansas State 78-62, pushing Loyola Chicago into the Final Four as the 11th seed. That's right, and they will be taking on the winner from the Michigan-Florida State game, which Michigan took down Florida State 58-54, moving 3 seed Michigan forward into the Final Four to face number 11 seed Loyola Chicago, the Cinderella of the tournament. That's right, Loyola Chicago is in there in the Final Four, facing off against Michigan, the 3 seed, to see who plays in the championship against the winner of the Villanova-Kansas game. It is going down, you guys. I'm juiced. I know you're juiced. Let's be juiced together. Yeah, man. This tournament, I'm telling you, man, it's been a lot of surprises, especially when you have the top seeds falling. But you get some nice surprises with these lower seed schools, such as Loyola Chicago. I'm pushing for the little guy. I'm pushing for that small school, because out of all the last 4 teams that's left, you have 2 1 seeds, 1 3 seed, and you have the lone Loyola Chicago 11th seed left. And it will get down to the nitty gritty because the championship will be played next Monday. That's right. April 2nd will be the championship game for the national championship. I'm hoping Loyola Chicago can pull it off, but they're going up against a good Michigan team. Kansas and Villanova, that should be a damn good game. That should be a good game. I'm thinking Kansas is going to go ahead and beat Villanova in this game and go on to the final. But that's why they play it. They're both number 1 seeds. So we just going to sit back and watch this unroll, man, and unfold and see exactly how it goes down. But it should be a damn good game. Kansas has a real solid good team. Villanova is solid as usual. Michigan is solid at the 3 seed, but Loyola Chicago is my Cinderella, man, and I hope that glass slipper fits, because it would be nice to see something different. A sleeper like this get into this tournament and actually come away with a victory. Now, the thing that impresses me with Loyola Chicago is, one, that these dudes, you can tell that they're older than just being young 19-year-olds. They have the experience of playing with each other because I noticed the way that they move the ball. Their defense is swarming. They know their assignments. They don't get too anxious. They play patiently, but they always take the great shot. They'll pass a good shot for a great shot, and their temperament is real, like in control. You know, they're not in a rush. Even when the games are close, you don't see that rush in them. You see they take their time and they execute their X's and O's. So Loyola, hats off to you being 11th seed. No one really said too much about you guys or gave you guys, any credit to go this far. I had you making it to the Sweet 16, but losing. But my bracket don't matter because it's busted. So I'm rooting for you guys. Kansas is solid, like I said, man. I think it's gonna come down to Kansas. This is my prediction: Kansas and Loyola Chicago. That's what I'm hoping for. That's what it looks like it can be. If that happens, then I'm riding with that underdog. I told you for all the way. If Loyola doesn't make it, then I'm favoring Kansas to take it all. So, with that being said, let's get this tournament going. Coming up this weekend, and we shall be seated, anxiously watching who the last two teams remain standing for the championship on that Monday. So, if you guys haven't paid attention to the tournament, don't miss these last couple of games. You got 2 games left. This should be, tooth and nail to get down to this last slot for the championship, man. And it's been real surprising to see this tournament jump off this year. I knew kind of that it was going to be a toss up. There's not going to be really that one team that's like slotted in like, oh yeah, they for sure going to make it all the way, because people had Duke, North Carolina, Xavier. I know I had Xavier and I had Wichita State being the 2 in the final, but both of them got put out. So we're left with these 4: Villanova, Kansas, Loyola, Chicago, and Michigan. Should be a good one, so stay tuned to it.
You want sports? We got it right here. This is the Sports Hounds Real Sports Bark Podcast.
We also have free agent still going on with NFL. Dominican Sue, if you guys haven't noticed, he's been out visiting teams, the Saints, Tennessee Titans, and the Los Angeles Rams. He still hasn't made his decision as far as what team he chooses, but it's in all likelihood, I expect him to go ahead and sign on with the Rams. Him and Aaron Donald, solid in the middle. Went out and traded and got 2 good corners. And also, what was also being out there rumor-wise is that with the deadlock between the Giants and OBJ, as far as getting a new deal, is at a standstill. So now what I'm hearing is that the Giants are interested in landing a first-round pick for OBJ. And the team that is supposedly involved in talks with making this deal with the Giants is the Rams. So the Rams have been out there busy as far as trades and free agency. So they're trying to even out both sides of the ball. That'll be a nice, good add to them, man. If they can add him to the receiving core, and let Goff go ahead and bounce back and develop. You still got Gurley in the run game, and you still have the draft coming up at the end of April that you make selections to go ahead and help out your team as well. So I look for big things out of the Rams, out of the NFC West. I'm going to go out there and say that they're going to win the division from how it looks, for the new additions that they've made through trade and so forth. But yeah, they have a real solid group there in LA, man, and especially with that new stadium getting built as we speak, that'll be a nice little team to go ahead and sell out those seats at that new stadium that they're building in Inglewood. So yeah, the Rams is doing big things. Other news we have. What else did we have going on in news? You had pro days happening with the colleges. Like I said, the draft is not that far away, about a month, and I'm just waiting to see how this draft goes because right now it looks like a lot of teams that are quarterback needy are making moves up in the draft to get that quarterback that they have their eye on. I think there's a possibility of 4 or 5 quarterbacks in this draft that possibly could be taken, if not all in second round, into the second round, I think, but it depends on how they come off the board. You still have Cleveland at number one, but rumor flies out there with them that if the deal is right, they'll be willing to trade that number one pick again. So that's another team that's been making move with trades and free agency also. So yeah, that's another team to look forward to. I get a kick out of watching these teams go ahead and pull themselves out of the ground and become contenders again. I love when all teams become contenders, when every game is not an easy game. Um, but yeah, you have to go through the growing pains of when you draft a quarterback that's supposedly supposed to be your franchise. You have to give them time to develop and grow. Also, you have to hit on your draft picks. So there's a lot of teams going through that. So still free agency, still some good depth at free agents out there. It's just a wait and see. But yeah, look forward to the draft and see how that unfolds. Also, NBA is coming down to the stretch with the last little bit of games before we go into the playoffs. Right now, it's a toss up with, see, in the West right now, your top seeds would be you got Houston at 1, Golden State at 2, Portland at 3. I think the fourth, who's the fourth team in the West? Would it be Oklahoma City, which Portland beat Oklahoma City last night, which was Sunday the 25th of March. So they're still rocking and rolling, man, getting down to these last little bit of games. I think there's about 8 to 10 games left, I think, depending on some teams. And so yeah, it's just pay attention to see what these teams do. You got Toronto in the East. Cleveland look like they're picking it up now. They're starting to play a little bit better, more in sync. I think they just had to take time to do that. Plus, they got Kevin Love back. You have Boston, but Kyrie's out with knee surgery. Warriors injury-wise, you have Steph Curry spraining his MCL in his knee, so he'll be out. Durant is still out with the fractured rib. Yeah, man, it's been some injuries out there. I hate to see that because I like to see teams at full strength when they enter the playoffs because they're going to need as many bodies as they can, even though they cut down the rotation. But even then, with those kind of injuries, your rotation from 8-9 man rotation in the playoffs, you're going to have to dip down into your 10th and 11th man, depending on how many injuries are on your team and as far as the starting five and how your rotation with the bench goes. So you're going to have to reach down. If those players aren't there at the start of the playoffs, you're going to have to reach into, like I said, the 10th and 11th player on the bench for your rotation, because you're going to have to bring them to the starting rotation, and then you're going to have to go even beyond 10 and 11 for depth. So you're looking at probably 12, 13 deep as far as pulling them off minutes off the bench to cover for those who have to be inserted into the starting rotation. So yeah, look forward to the playoffs jumping off, man, with the NBA, so we can go into this 2018 NBA Finals. We're going to see what's going to happen. Can LeBron take Cleveland again? Is the Warriors going to be there again? But I think the road for the Warriors is going to be a harder one than the previous 1, 2, 3 years, because a lot of teams had made moves just in particular to compete with the Warriors, because the Warriors right now wear the crown until they're thrown off. But these teams are geared up to do that, so it's gonna be interesting, man. What kind of gas is gonna be left in the tank if the Warriors make it to the finals? Because like I said, between the Houston's, the the Houstons, Oklahoma Cities, the Portlands, even Utahs and San Antonios. You got teams that's gonna come at you. It's not gonna be an easy win. They're gonna grind you. These are good veteran teams. So can't wait, man, to see how this NBA playoff season unfolds. But it's coming. It's coming quick, man. It's gonna come real quick, and man, that's all we're gonna have left. With the finals being in June, so the calendar days is just gonna fly off, But all in all, we got a lot of things going on. Thank you once again for listening to the 10th episode of the Sports Hound Real Sports Bark podcast, man. I appreciate it. I'm still trying to build up this following, get your support, get your likes, your shares, and your follows, man. And once again, you can check us out on Facebook at Sports Hound Media. You can check us out on Twitter at SportsHound247 and also on Instagram at SportsHound Media. Also check out our website at thesportshound.com. Follow us, like us, share us. Man, we're trying to get as much following as we can. Also, you can go on YouTube and check out the episodes on there as well on our YouTube channel at the Sports Hound. Yeah, and I'll drop one every week, man. And like I said, this is the 10th episode. We're doing it for 10 weeks straight, man. I appreciate the love, the follows, the shares, and the likes, man. And keep it up. And always remember, when it comes to the sports board, we got our paw on the ball. And I'm out.
Thanks for checking out the Sports Hounds Real Sports Bark podcast. For more exclusive content, follow us on all social media. Twitter, SportsHound247. Instagram, SportsHound Media. Facebook, SportsHound Media. And on the website at thesportshound.com. And tell your damn friends about the hottest sports podcast on the web.